really going down to yellow and brown. That's what's in.
And that's a fucking Phillies win. What's going on, everybody? Eric here, also known as Shard, here with the 302 Birds post-game show, a late post-game show because the Phillies are on the West Coast. I know it was a late game to stay up for. Luckily, though, it was worth the wait. Phillies get the win, and they win it 3-9. And tonight, we have Brendan back with us. What's going on, Brendan?
Not much, man. Can you imagine you wait up for this game 1 o'clock in the morning, do a post-game show, and you lose 3-9?
Dude, I would be so pissed. I'd be so pissed. I would come on this show fucking ranting.
Yeah.
But luckily, we don't have to rant. Luckily, we won the game. So, I mean, we still have a lot to talk about. It was a great game. It almost looked like it was freaking batting practice out there today with the amount of excitement that went into the game. I know you and I were talking, before we started the show, and both of you, you and I both agreed, West Coast games, most people don't stay up for here on the East Coast just because it's so late. It's almost 1 a.m. But I mean, Nola had a great outing. The bats came alive. We were hitting back-to-back home runs. Marsh looked great. And Philly Rob now, he's the most winningest coach. And we'll get into all those topics here tonight. So the first thing I want to talk about is the pitching success that we're seeing right now. Our starting rotation, and I know we say this every night, but how can you not talk about this? I mean, our starting rotation right now just looks freaking amazing.
Yeah,
Absolutely insane.
This is insane. This is back-to-back games for Nola now with 8+ innings, 10 Ks tonight. He's controlling everything. The knuckle curve is probably the best you've seen it in a couple of years. With this rate that he's at right now, he's another guy that, could be a top 5, top 10 for Cy Young. It's absolutely insane what's going on with the starting staff.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely insane. And I'm really proud of Nola, especially with seeing how he was last year compared to now. I mean, granted, again, you and I were talking about how he does let up at least 1 home run every game. But I mean, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I know, honestly, I kind of shit on Nola sometimes for letting up home runs. But I think I'm to the point now where I got to start accepting that he's going to let up a home run. But if he can, if he can get through the whole game only letting up 1 run, then what is there to be pissed off about?
Yeah, you can't ask for more than that. And the thing with these home runs, I know he's not doing this purposefully at all, but it seems like they're coming at the perfect times, right? Like tonight, up 9-1, you give up a 2-run home run. I think the one against, either the Rockies or the White Sox, it was a single solo shot. These aren't big time bullshit home runs that are losing the games from. They're just a pitch that's missing, or even the one tonight, it was low outside, and Haley went down and grabbed the guy who's batting .095 for the season. You can't ask for more than what Nola's doing right now. Nola, Sanchez, Wheeler, this is just wild.
Right. What's going on, Ryan? Thanks for joining us here late at night. Sorry to keep you up so late. But yeah, Casty is fucking back. And we're going to get into that just in a minute. But we do want to, keep talking and continuing on with our pitching topic. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see how far he's come. And, I think last season he definitely needed to take that time to get adjusted to the pitch clock, just because you could see and it's not just him. It was, pitchers all across the league last year, just because it was something new, something innovative to help speed up the game. I think a lot of people needed the time to get adjusted to it. And I think, seeing how he is now, I think he's had that time to get used to it. I think that, he's painting the zone. He's putting the balls where he needs to. He has great control. And yeah.
Yeah, I think this year was probably as big of a make or break year as it could have been for this entire contract. You have a guy who really didn't have a solid outing last year. It was good, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't like that ace type of pitcher who got that $170 million contract like he did. And imagine if he came out this year like he did last year, right? It would have been the worst contract ever already, and everybody would have just, shot him down. The guy's pitching like fucking hell right now. And like the way he's cooking, it makes sense of why he got a 7-year deal. He wants to be a lifelong Philly, came up through his farm system. He could be what they need to be and where he needs to be for the next, 6+ years.
Right. So looking at his stats right now, he did go, 8 innings again tonight. He went back-to-back games going 8 innings pitched. Had 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 1 home run, 1 walk, but 10 strikeouts. And again, how can you really be mad at that?
No, and what was it? I think up until the 5th inning, he only had 4. And then from 6 through 8, he grabbed another 6 Ks. Struck out the side in the 7th. He was pissed after the 6th inning. Got, calmed down, centered himself, really finished out the game strong. And then I think bringing in Dominguez at the end was a really smart move by Rob as well. Going off what happened at the 3rd game of the Red Series, I think. Dominguez just blew up and then just shit the bed. And then putting him back in a situation tonight where it wasn't a make or break, 1 or 2 run game. He's just going out there, got it done, 1, 2, 3, 9th, and closed it out. Not closed it out, but closed it out.
Yeah, and I want to pull up, just because I want to show everybody kind of, what's going on here with Nola. I mean, if we look at Nola right now, right, look at his ERA at the start of the year compared to what we're at now. He started the year against the Braves at a 12.46. Granted, I know it's the Braves. I get it. They're a hot team. But look at how he's been able to keep lowering and lowering that ERA. Went from a 12.46 to a 5.4, 4.5, 3.4, 3.1, 3.2. And even the announcers were saying it, today. His ERA during the game kept going up and down. Yep. It was below a 2, and then it went up, then it went down. Right now, regular season, he's sitting at a 3.16. So, I mean, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and you can't ask for more than that right now. Right. Another thing that's wild to me about this pitching success, it was something I just saw earlier. For the year, the Phillies have used 16 pitchers, right? I think the highest anybody has used is either 24 or 25. There's only 4 teams that have used less pitchers than the Phillies have, and that's the Rockies, Tigers, Royals, and the A's. So only of those 4 teams, 1 team has a decent season so far. But I think that speaks a lot about Thompson and just sticking with guys, especially through the beginning of the year when everybody shot down the bullpen, the starting rotation. Wheeler was giving it up, Nola was giving him up. Topper stuck with him, rolled it out, and he's just killing it right now.
Matt, what's up, buddy? Matt coming in. He was on here last night. What's up, buddy? Great to have you here. Great to have you with us. Thank you for staying up. Star Wars, what's going on, man? You're always in here. Such a loyal fan. Really appreciate it. One of our #1 supporters. Everybody hit but Bryson. Again, we're going to get into batting here in a few seconds just because, it was a great, great outing. But the other thing I want to touch on before, we get into batting, and, we've talked about it a couple times here, but I think it's always good to kind of bring up. So we've talked previously about Walker and that whole situation. As of right now, it's kind of uncertain what's going to happen with Turnbull. We want him to stay in the rotation. And Thompson said right now that they're going to make an announcement about him after Sunday. Once we add Taiwan to the roster, someone's coming off. So it's contingent on how much bullpen we have after Sunday's game. Thank you, Alex Coffey. I'm going to give a shout out just because I'm using tweet. Don't want to offend anybody. So this is per Alex Coffey. I think I'm saying her last name right. She's a Phillies writer for the Philly Inquirer. But yeah, he said a piggyback on Monday and a Turnbull start on Tuesday are possibilities. I don't want like Matthew said here, Sanchez to the Turnbull should keep his spot. I definitely agree. I don't think that Sanchez should be thrown into that starting rotation.
No, I'm 100% in on that. The problem is Taiwan Walker is making $18 million this year, and it's guaranteed, and he's making it, for another 3 years after, or 2 years after this, I think. They're not going to put him in AAA. I really don't think that's going to be a thing. I think if anybody gets the best option out of this, he would just be that long-term guy in the pen. but part of me just doesn't see that either, because knowing what Topper does and Topper says, it sounds like Walker's going to come in, be that fifth guy, because Sanchez really should be that fourth guy right now. It's just he needs to have such a short leash on Sunday, because it's going to be at least 4 runs. He's going to walk at least 3 people and have a shitty first 3 innings. It's going to happen. Everybody says that. Matt, we might have to. I believe so. Sorry, what do you think on that?
Him being a lefty?
Yeah, part of me says yes. I believe so.
Let me look. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Sanchez also a lefty? Yes, he's a lefty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem is with Turnbull is one thing everybody keeps saying, he might not have the arm for the entire year. And that really could be a possibility. But at the same time, are you going to throw away what this rotation is doing right now? Because if you put him in the bullpen or send him down in AAA, he's losing all momentum for the year. Everything that he's done so far that was a success, it's done. There's no way that comes back in 2 months from now, 3 months from now, or even like a month from now. If he's in this steady pace of where he's at, he's really cooking, he's really throwing the ball where he needs to be. I think he's top 5 in the league for ERA right now, and you're going to shut this guy down. That's absolutely insane to me. But
I think it's a confidence killer.
Yeah, 100%. You have Sanchez going out there, being a little nilly-willy with pitches, giving up stuff, and he's a set guy, right? I don't know. Maybe it's Sanchez that should be the long-term guy with Walker in the pen or doing something like that, like Matt said. But really, it just should not be Walker all the time. I can't get behind that at all.
Right. Yeah. So I think we kind of beat pitching here I think we beat the horse dead.
The good, bad, and the ugly about it.
Right. But we do want to go ahead and move on to bats on fire. What an absolute amazing game right now that we watched. I do want to bring up, and Star Wars said it here, he beat me to it. Schwarber had his number 100th. He had his 100th home run in a Phillies uniform, which is absolutely amazing. I think they said statistic-wise, it was the second fastest to reach 100, right behind Ryan Howard.
Yeah, I don't think, let's be honest, nobody was going to touch that. That was his hell of a rookie season. I think he got Rookie of the Year that year. The next year, I think he hit 58. Nobody's going to touch that. This is probably the fastest it's going to be for any normal player right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm really happy that Schwarber, hit tonight. I'm really happy that, he's looking like that key leadoff guy. Even if he's not hitting home runs, he's hitting something compared to last year where he was just trying to go straight for the long ball.
Yeah, and he's walking this year. He's looking at shit. He's getting deep in counts. He's definitely had a lot more 3-2 counts than I think he's had all of last year at this point. He's looking like an actual leadoff guy. You just don't have the actual speed behind it. But if you get a guy on base like that and you have Turner and then Harper and then where a cleanup guy like Bohm should be right now, that's all you need. You don't need the speed right there if they're going to get long base hits or hard hits or stuff like that. Right. And like Matt was just saying as well, he's batting 200. That's better than the 180 that he had last year. He's not swinging at pitches that are below his bell or above his chest height. He's hitting the ball. He's hitting the ball hard. He's seeing the ball well. Keep it. I know a lot of people don't like him at that leadoff spot, but it works. For some reason, it just works.
I mean, statistic-wise, every time he hits a leadoff home run, we win a game.
Exactly.
Well, not every game, but most games. Most games he does hit a leadoff home run. Speaking of home runs, we have 5 home runs in this game tonight. It looked like absolute batting practice. It looked like everybody just wanted to get up there and hit a home run. Let's look through who had one. JT had one. Marsh. Who else?
Yeah, Cassie in the first one of the year.
That surprised me. I did not expect Cassie to come out and hit a home run because it hit the fence. I thought it was going to be off the wall. I thought it was going to be a double. But it was ruled a home run, which absolutely surprised me. Who else? Schwarber.
And you got JT as well.
JT. and then Daddy Harper
Yep.
coming out with the freaking dad energy.
You couldn't ask for anything more tonight. And then talk about giving home runs. How about taking away home runs? Marsh out there in left field.
Dude, that was amazing. And we're going to get into that in a second because that's one of our topics. But I mean, like, I'm just compared to last year and how we started off last year, you know, this is amazing just to see. I mean, they definitely are coming out hot. They definitely want a different start compared to, you know, what last year was. And I mean, like, for them to be above 500 right now, I don't even think we got to 500 until what, like June or July last year?
Yeah, it was like late June, early July. Because that's right about that time when, you know, Schwarber decides to start hitting the ball every day and then everybody else decides to start getting behind him and everything.
Right. So, I mean, like, it's just absolutely amazing. And like, you know, Ryan just said right here, Cassie's coming out of a slump. Bats are going to be hot going forward. I'm telling you, Ryan, once Liam is out of school and can attend every game and come on road trips with his dad, Cassie's going to be back. I'm telling you.
100%.
Liam being there does something to Cassie, you know, puts confidence in him. The mayor's there. You know, Liam's the mayor of Philly. Kid is all over the stadium. If you guys go to the stadium and, you know, you're sitting on the lower deck, you'll probably most likely see the kid run past you. I mean, he's always there.
Yeah. I think the only thing that, you know, with all the good that happened today, all the good, there's one thing that's bothered me a little bit, and it might be Stott. I don't know what your level of concern is with him, but this is 2 games now, I think, in the last, like, 5, where 8 of the 9 guys got a hit, but Stott. So that's a little bit concerning if everybody's getting hit, especially if a guy like Musgrove, who's just throwing meatballs out there, everything's breaking, and everybody knew that he was going to go in breaking. I don't know. Just something's not there with him right now, and it's not clicking, and I feel like it's different than the Castellanos slump too. It's not the same, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's hard to say with Bryson just because I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say he's a rookie, but he's also kind of a younger player. So it's like, you know, he's not a veteran compared to Nick, where Nick's been around for so long.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, you know, Stott can kind of be, I feel like he has more excuses. And like Matt said, Stott is struggling. I don't think it's fair that we can ridicule him when Topper doesn't play him consistently. Yeah, I mean, that too. Stott's not playing, you know, every single game, so he's not consistent. Whereas, you know, Nick is, and we say this every night, Nick needs to sit a game or two. They need to start rotating guys in the outfield as well.
Yeah.
I think with Stott, I don't know what it is. I mean, it could be that he's distracted with is it his fiance or his girlfriend?
One of the two.
I don't think they're married yet, but I want to say that, like, he could be distracted by that. He just had a baby. I mean, granted, Bryce just had a baby and he's out here fucking hitting dingers, but whatever. But he's a younger guy, you know, might be distracted by that. I mean, he's in a slump, but at the same time, like, there's some games lately where he is hitting. I feel like it's kind of like it's a Rojas situation where, like, Rojas was really crappy towards the beginning of the year. Now he's a little bit hot. He'll probably get cold again, depending on who we play.
Yeah. And I think the thing with, like, Stott is, like, with Casty, we knew, or we didn't know that he was going to come out of this, right? Or we still don't know if he's going to come out of it. Stott, I think everybody's on board that he's going to start hitting, right? And the one thing what Matt said, we don't ridicule the daycare here. That's our favorite thing in the entire world. We don't ridicule the daycare. So I just want to point that one out too, buddy.
Right. And like Matt said, and I completely agree with you, Matt, lefty versus righty stats are pointless. How can you get better against lefties if you never get played against them? Play the starters every day and let them develop consistently. And I do want to talk about that here in our next topic. You know, with Marsh looking like an absolute stud tonight. I think Topper needs to play him more. I don't care if a pitcher is a lefty or a righty. I think he can hit off both. Granted, you know, he's not always hitting off a lefty, but he can still do it. He's still showing that, you know, he has those great at bats.
Yeah, like there's no. I think I've been telling you since opening day. Like Marsh is an everyday player. There's not a single reason to me at all that says he should be sitting. And then what was it? Not yesterday, but I think the day before in the lineup, 2 through 8 were all righties. There wasn't a single back and forth between lefty and righty. So this back and forth stuff that Topper's doing, I think, is kind of out the window just from that one game alone to me. Sitting Stott, sitting Marsh, sitting Bohm, sitting, all these guys that shouldn't be sitting. And then you have Castellanos who's sitting like what 195 right now, 190. He's not a 162 game guy right now. I think that's the guy that needs to be sitting, and probably for more than just one game too.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like, if I'm reading this correctly, and I'll pull it up here just so you can double check me. It looks like Marsh right now is second stat-wise out of the entire team, if I'm reading this correctly. I'm looking at the numbers here.
Right.
So, I mean, he has 79 at-bats, 10 runs, 23 hits. Let's see. 16 RBI, 6 home runs. So, I mean, like, he's hitting a .291 right now.
Right.
So, I mean, like, there's no reason why you're not playing him every day compared to Nick, who's really iffy right now. And he's playing every day.
And that's being nice about it.
Right. And I mean, granted, I know you have to honor a contract. I get that. I get that it's in fine print. But, like, at the same time, fuck the contract.
Yeah, like, how far are you going to go into it and be like, cool, I paid a guy, was it $20 million for the year, but, to automatic 4 outs a game. Like, you can't do that.
Right. I mean, like, I don't know if this is a good comparison, but I mean, like, you compare it to football. If a guy's not producing, they're going to sit him and play the guy behind him.
If any of these guys were playing for John Tortorella right now, wouldn't be starting.
I mean,
just right that one out.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. But I mean, like, Marsh had a home run tonight, hit a double. I think you said he hit a single, right? I know he had 3 hits and 5
hits. Single, double, and a homer.
And then he's playing in the outfield and he steals a home run. I mean, like, he
almost had the diving catch too.
Yeah, he almost had the diving catch. I mean, granted, he didn't catch it, but for him to put in the athleticism there and go for it, kind of like Rojas the other night, you can't beat that anywhere. I don't think Witt's going to get that. I don't think.
No.
Well, maybe Pache might get it. Pache's kind of here and there.
Cassidy's sure as hell not getting it.
Sorber's definitely not fucking getting it if he was ever to play.
I think all it was tonight was he had a bad break on it. He went back like a half step and then went forward. If he didn't have that back step, probably would have had that one too, and probably would have had 2 top 10 plays.
Yeah, definitely. I guess my question to you would be for Marsh. Do you think that if, Marsh can prove that he can hit against do you think Rob is not starting him every day because he's scared about lefties? Like, if Marsh was to start producing against lefties, do you think Rob would be comfortable saying, okay, yeah, now you can start every day?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think you said this back during like the end, like the tail end of the Brave series of like, a month in for Rojas. What is he doing? If he's doing it, cool, let him go. If he's not, sit him down. It's the same thing. Up until maybe 5-6 games ago, Whit Merrifield didn't really have anything going on. Pache had his one walk-off, didn't really have anything other than that. Marsh is still producing more than all these other guys, right? So why are you sitting it down a guy who has a better chance of going against a lefty and possibly getting a hit than almost a 0% chance, a 10% chance of Whit Merrifield or, Pache going out there?
Right. And I mean, I'll give Rob this, and it's going to lead us into our next topic. I mean, sometimes when Rob has these stupid lineups where he's not playing people, I mean, sometimes it does work. I will say, congrats to Philly Rob. Throughout 300 games, they said at the end of the game tonight, he is the most winningest coach. So, I mean, congrats to him. But like Matt said here, what pisses him off is that he'll never get a chance to prove himself against lefties. And I think Rob needs to just get it through his head and stop looking at analytics and stats and just see that Marsh and Stott both need a chance to prove themselves. If you can't give them a chance to prove themselves, then why are you going to let them play, I guess.
100%. Like, say you go into, you're in the World Series, it's Game 7. Are you really going to sit down Marsh and Stott because, the Astros have a lefty going out there? No, you're going to play them. So why are we not doing that now?
Well, Dusty Baker left the Astros. Now they're in complete shambles. So,
yeah, that was just the first AL team. We'll go with the Yankees maybe. I didn't really want to bring up the Yankees, so that kind of works.
Yeah, and I mean, like Matthew said, Philly Rob is just stubborn like Philly. That's why we call him Philly Rob. I don't hate Rob to the point where, like, I'm like, oh, well, he needs to be fired. I mean, Rob has moments where he's absolutely great. I just think Rob, there's certain aspects, and this goes with every coach in Philadelphia, whether it's Nick, whether it's Philly Rob. We have two Nicks, but Nick Eagles and Nick Sixers. I think any coach in Philadelphia has their pros and cons. I think Rob, to me at least, has more cons than pros, but there are times where Rob definitely has the spotlight on him and he comes to play. But one of my biggest cons with him is that, again, he just makes stupid lineups. He doesn't pull pitchers when they need to be pulled. Granted, right now our pitching is fine, but that's my biggest fret.
Yeah, and the biggest one I can think of off the top of my head was that Wheeler game against the Pirates. Was it last week? Goes into the bottom of the 7th, bottom of the 8th, and gives up that grand slam. Another probably batter beforehand, he would have had probably another great outing. I've always loved Rob. I think he's absolutely great. There's definitely little things here and there that I lose sleep over. I pull my hair out, and I think that's just the nature of the beast. He's not going to be a guy that's screaming, yelling, telling you that he's right, we're wrong sort of thing. It's just he's going to do his thing. He doesn't care what people say. He's going to tell you this team's, the greatest thing since sliced bread, and that's all that matters. And I'm honestly, at this point, I'm here for it. With him, we got to the World Series, we got to the NLCS. Granted, came up short, but still got there with a guy who was an interim manager that year. Third time's a charm. I'm here for it. Let him do his thing. He's the best thing we got right now.
Yeah. And like Matt said here, I wouldn't say more cons than pros. I think it's a way of coaching that us in Philly we don't agree with. There's a reason we've been to the national championship the last 2 seasons. Yeah, I mean, I definitely see that. I guess, a lot of us in Philly and, a lot of people say this. I don't agree with the way he's coaching. Does it work? Yes. I think, everybody has a problem with certain aspects, again, of coaching. But, he is right now the winningest coach throughout 300 games. But that's kind of all we have for you tonight. Don't want to keep everybody up too late. It is 1:20 in the morning. Phillies do win 9-3. They bounce back from that two-game skid. I think they've won 2 straight now. Looking at stats before we leave today, MLB stats, MLB standings, like I do every time. If I can type in to my keyboard correctly. Go ahead and share my screen one last time. National League. So we're still 2.5 games back from the Braves. And oh my God, why is this like this? All right, does it look better now? There we go. So we are 17-10. Braves are 18-6. We need them to start losing games, but I mean they're playing the Guardians, I believe. I think
they just got Albies back too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're 2.5 games back, so it's not like it's that big of a game back right now, but definitely just need them to start losing games. But I mean, I think we're in a really good standing right now.
Yeah, it's going to be this way all year. They're going to go back and forth with them. At some point or another, they're going to go up in the division. They're going to go back down. They'll probably go. I don't see them going more than 5 games out of first at one point or another throughout the season. But I also don't see them going above 5 games at some point or another throughout the entire season as well. It's going to be a back and forth thing. You're going to have to win the series against the Braves. I think that's the biggest thing. I think that first series is really just a kick in the ass to them of you can't just hand these games over. You can't just give up bullshit runs, and you got to win them. And that's what's going to bring it down to the end of September of who's actually going to walk away with a bye in the first series.
Right. Yeah. So to close out, make sure you guys, tune in to Dalton, KJ, and Chris's show later. Since it is Saturday now, later this morning. Sipping Sports. If you guys want to, I'm going to drop my tag here in the comments. If you guys want to go ahead and follow me on Twitter, I am going to start posting the schedule of when we're going to go live for the post-game show. 302 Birds as well. And again, I'll post our socials here in the comments. They're going to be posting schedules as well of when we go live. That way you guys can keep track of that if you guys want to join us. Tomorrow is tomorrow another late night game, right?
We get to start 1 hour earlier tomorrow.
Okay, so tomorrow will be another late night post game show. I think myself and Brendan will both be on tomorrow. And then, yeah, I mean, that's all I have. Phillies win 9-3. Brendan, you have anything?
No, I think get some rest and stay up a little bit later again tomorrow night.
Yeah, so on that note, guys, have a good night. And Padres, go ahead and take us out.
Philly going down to yellow and brown. That's